What's going on, fam? It's the entertainer, motivator, educator Lucky Murray here with another edition of Gamecock News. And guys, it is happened. I didn't think it was going to happen so soon, but we have some breaking news out of our beloved team, the South Carolina Gamecocks. Kurt Roper, which was our active co-coordinator, has been let go and will not be reattained for the Outback Bowl this in January when we play the Michigan Wolverines in the Outback Bowl. If you've been a fan of South Carolina for a long period of time, well, recently past the 2000s when Lou Holtz was there, and also pre-Steve Spurrier. I think we went one time with Steve Spurrier, but the South Carolina Gamecocks has a history of the Outback Bowl. The last time we won the Outback Bowl was in 2013. That's the game with Jadeveon Clowney had the big hit against Michigan. That's the last time we played Michigan in the Outback Bowl in 2013. But we have a total of 3 wins in the Outback Bowl. Our last win was in 2013. Kurt Roper has not been retained. He's been fired. So who has taken his place was co-offensive coordinator Brian McClendon. If I'm saying the name right, Brian McClendon. And he is taking the Rams of the play calling duties. This is for a intern base, period. So that means that he would just be coaching for the game, and Coach Will Muschamp will then decide on whether to keep him long term or to go in another direction as far as offensive coordinator. So the South Carolina Gamecocks is not in a rush just yet to find them a new offensive coordinator. So a little thing about Brian McClendon, he was a wide receivers coach for the South Carolina Gamecocks. He recently was with the Georgia Bulldogs, where he played football from 2002 to 2005. Played in the NFL for a little bit, but started coaching with Georgia and found his way with the South Carolina football team. He's only 34 years old, guys. So in the coaching Rams, that is a baby, okay? He's not that much older than me. I'm like 29, he's 34, about 5 years older. But he's hungry, and he was rated by the Rivals.com. If you don't know Rivals.com, that is one of the biggest sites for recruiting, period. They rated him the #1 recruiter in 2017. So the guy can go get it. And I think it's interesting to see that I've been hearing rumblings here on the local news station that this is going to be an in-house hire. It is going to be Coach McClendon or Coach Bobby Bentley. Bobby Bentley, if that rings a bell, he is Jake Bentley's dad. He is the guy that orchestrated those beastly Burn Rebels high school football teams back in the early 2000s to the mid 2000s. I remember them correctly because back when I was in the 10th grade, back in 2006, Irma High School, that's the high school that I went to at the time, played Burns. We had 0 shots. They beat us so bad, I don't even remember the score. I know it was like about 50 points. It was crazy. And he had Burns where they was ranked really high. He went to PC Presbyterian up the street in Clinton, South Carolina. Didn't do so well. Then went to, I believe it was Alabama or Auburn. I think it was one of those schools. And then that's when Will Muschamp hired him as the running backs coach. So it's going to be very interesting to see. I think that, guys, that we cannot do no worse than 107 in NCAA FBS, and that's football bowl division. FBS, I don't know what that's. Anyway, sub division. I don't know. But in D1 football, we are the 107th best team out of 128. Pretty sad. It's pretty sad. So I'm interested to see how we play during the Outback Bowl. If we open our offensive up, I think it's either Coach McClendon's job, if he can show that he can utilize the weapons that we do have. because I don't know if Deebo Samuels will play. I have to report that. But if you know any information, please comment below. I do not know if Deebo Samuels will play, but I do think that our offense needs to go up more up tempo, meaning that, you know, Jake Bentley has an arm, and I believe Jake Bentley can do a lot more than what he did last year. So it's pretty much interesting. You know, you don't want to hear a coach get fired or lose their job, because that is their livelihood. But at the same time, college sports is a big business. Coaches are being paid millions of dollars, so you need to perform at a high level. And I said in my last video, which I have the link up above, that if we're 8-4 team, I think number 3 and number 4 in the SEC East. We have Georgia that is now in the playoffs and has a chance to contend for the national championship. Won the SEC championship. Came from the East. The East hasn't won the championship since Florida did it, and I don't even know how long. Maybe in the early 2000s when Tim Tebow was there. But we hadn't had to have, the East hasn't had a champion in a long time. It was either Alabama or Auburn who won the last 5 or 6 SEC championships. But if we can get there, you never know what can happen. And Alabama probably was a better matchup with Georgia. They probably would have spanked them. But Georgia is the SEC champions, and I don't think that Alabama should get into the playoffs. You know, I think the committee just put the 4 best teams in there, but you should have respect for the conference champions. And leaving USC and or Ohio State, I thought that didn't do justice for the committee. I think the committee needs to open it up to 8 and 8 only. I think 8 teams is a perfect scenario for us as playoffs, but it's gonna be chaotic. Clemson and Alabama anyway. But the Outback Bowl, if we can score points and beat the Michigan Wolverines, mark my words, Coach McGlendon will be our offensive coordinator. I would just keep it in-house, because with a great coach, offensive coordinators are kind of hard to find, because it's like, hey, you don't want to go get a guy and it's like, he doesn't really work out because he don't really fit our scheme. So I will be reporting on who I think the top 4 or 5 candidates should be as they appear. But right now, the South Carolina Gamecocks feel comfortable with Coach McGlendon. Brian McGlendon, 34 years old. He was already the co-offensive coordinator, so he's taking that role full time. And so it'll be interesting to see what he does. So, you know what, like I do. If you like this video, please hit it with a thumbs up. Subscribe. Hit that notification so that every time I drop a video, you know what it is. And let me know why you liked it. If you didn't like it, let's keep it $150. Hit it with a thumbs down. Tell me why. I'm a big boy, I can take it. So it's the entertainer, motivator, educator, Lucky Murray here with another edition of Gamecock News. And Brian McGlendon, Coach McGlendon, you're up. Man down, man up, man down, man up. Till next time.